Vénganse, vénganse, vénganse. Vamos a jugar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a cantar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a llorar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a fumar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a jugar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a cantar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a fumar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a tomar hoy, hoy, hoy.
Beautiful people of the world, I'm Natalie.
I'm Rickie.
We are on this frequency along with Raymond and Andrew, producing us, making sure we're good.
What up?
How you doing?
I'm good.
Burritos good?
Fire.
I know it. I just know it.
Shout out to la señora de la casa.
La señora, my mother-in-law, she makes the best burritos.
She does.
Her bean burritos are so good.
They are.
You know what's someone had mentioned Papa Tacos the other day, but this fucking Papa burrito,
That one's good.
that shit shits on everybody.
Hell yeah. So,
Excuse me.
we've had a good rainy week. It's still raining here in the
I
beautiful
love the
Southern
rain.
California. You know what? I love it. And I love it only here, and it just isn't raining enough. So it's very memeable because everyone in Southern California goes outside and we're like, oh my God, look at it's raining. And we all go out and we take pictures of it like real idiots.
So
And
my middle daughter her birthday was yesterday. She's 21 now.
Happy birthday, Alina.
Happy birthday, Alina. Her birthday party was supposed to be this Saturday.
Yeah.
It was this big old thing. Ray was going to DJ,
Yeah.
tables and heaters and all that stuff. And then it was like, we're going to cancel because it's going to be 47 degrees.
Yeah,
Or
it's
I
gonna be
probably
near
even lower
freezing.
than that. Yeah.
Hell no.
So we canceled.
And I know she wanted to have like a nice,
yeah.
formal,
Mm-hmm.
right, event. So good. I'm glad that she's still doing it though. So good for her.
Yes.
Good for you,
I'm
Alina.
excited for her.
So what do we got? A lot of shit.
Yeah, I always appreciate the conversations that we have before we record
Yeah.
because it's your pre-therapy session.
Yeah. Well, the pre conversation really just amped me up. I'm on fire right now.
You're on fire.
I have a
Oh,
lot
God,
to
no.
say.
Well, I do
But I'm gonna need to
also,
simmer down. So
I do want to also mention because one of the things that we were talking about, and again, because I'm gonna drop this again, the Sam and Ray podcast.
yes.
You need to check it out because it never fails. So Sam and Ray's our producer. It's a podcast with his wife.
Yeah.
But it's very raw and honest.
Yeah.
And just random also.
Right.
But it's hilarious at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
I'm always cracking up.
Their relationship is so fun. I look up to you guys relationship wise.
Says who?
I think that's the perception, right?
You know what?
That's what I feel.
I think it's fun for you guys because you guys are seeing that it's not like it's the beauty and the chaos, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we don't hide back from anything. We don't hide back. We don't
Hold
hold back.
Hold back, yeah.
We don't hold back from that stuff. Like it's just like it is what it is. That's why we've always said we're not going to give you relationship advice, but we'll tell you how we've gone through our shit. And
Yeah.
we've gone through some shit, so it is what it is. And either like it or love it. If you don't, I'm not mad at you. I'm
Yeah.
still going to talk my shit.
Right.
and I can appreciate something like that because there are a lot of people and a lot of podcasts that will give, oh look, this is how you be in a relationship. You do step 1, step 2. But you guys make me feel like, okay, I'm not crazy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or maybe I am, but
No. First of all, you are crazy.
Yes.
But so are we.
you know what I
So
mean?
we're
And
all
we can relate.
we're all fucking crazy. Anybody that says that they have that shit locked down packed.
Yeah.
And anyone who's not in a relationship, don't feel like you're missing out on anything because
Right.
you're really not.
Yeah.
Because just as hard as it is to get into a relationship and want to be with that person, there's also all those tribulations that you got to fucking deal with.
Yeah.
And that's not the fun part. That shit's
Right.
like, fuck, man, we got to deal with this shit again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not easy
I
being in a relationship.
was catching up with a good friend of mine, and she's in a challenging relationship. Like it's not good. Like she should have already left her partner. They have kids, and she knows it. She knows that She should have left a long time ago. She's not happy. The kids are, nobody's happy.
Leave that man, girl. If you're listening, leave that man.
Leave that, excuse me, Jesus, leave that man. But she looked at me just so like vulnerably and said, I don't want to end up alone. She's like, I'm already older. I don't want to be by myself. So I'm like, damn, you'd rather be in a terrible relationship than be on your own. And you don't even know what's going to happen. You could be on your own for a little bit and then find somebody else. Like, somebody wonderful.
Yeah.
You don't know that, but give yourself that shot. And then it came down to, it was a pretty deep conversation too, just her low self-esteem. Like her really believing that this was the best she could do. Like this was it for her. And that was rough.
Yeah.
But I understood a lot of kind of what she was saying.
And the fear of the unknown.
The fear of the unknown, which, and just to talk about relationships, we did a wedding on Tuesday in Palm Springs. Yeah, it was the smallest wedding we've ever done. It was only 22 people.
Wow.
It was beautiful. And I'm always a sucker. I'm always crying at the ceremony, oh my God, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
But it was a very intimate wedding. And this first time I've ever seen this, what do you call the ordained minister, like the person that marries you?
Or
That's an ordained minister, right?
Yeah.
So she comes out. So everybody's sitting down. Bride and groom are in their positions. And then she faces the audience. She faces the guests.
Oh.
And she pretty much tells them, like, her speech was beautiful, but says, you are the community to this couple. They trusted you, being here. They love you. You guys have deep relationships. And she says, are you willing, I'm paraphrasing, are you willing to continue to commit your friendships with them and weather with them any ups? It was.
Oh, that's a good one.
I stepped out because I wanted to hear everything. And so she made the whole crowd say, we do. And so everybody said we do. And then she turned around and she married the couple.
Oh, how sweet.
It was wonderful. But
that's different.
That's powerful.
It was very powerful because there's your village, there's your tribe.
Yeah, these are the select people.
And it should be like that. You should be able to lean on your people like that. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But so later on, and I went out of my way to tell her, everybody who spoke about the couple, it was just like, Jesus, who are these people, right?
Yeah.
I had no idea that she had 5 children.
Oh.
Young woman, just vibrant, beautiful. And I was like, she has 5 kids? Like, what the hell? How?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah.
So she just told me a really beautiful story that she had really given up on love. Like, that was it. She was done. She's been raising her kids, tired. She'd given up. That was it. And then she decided that she was going to just focus on herself, not date for 5 years.
Yeah.
She was going to learn how to be in her body and be herself. And she's like, I took dancing classes by myself, running classes. I went on vacation by myself. I did all of that stuff. And she said, and out of nowhere.
I love this story.
Out of nowhere, she says, I met, my husband. She goes, and he wasn't looking for anything either. He wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't looking for anything. And it just happened. And when it happens, you're going to know immediately. But she said, she goes, when you do those things for yourself, when you really get that recipe down, the energy that you give out is now lending itself to attract the correct person that's going to know what to do with everything you've just done.
Yes.
I was like, dang, I need to write that down.
I love that. That is beautiful. I have countless friends and relatives that will tell me the same thing. You know what? Exactly what you just said. I was working on myself. I wasn't looking for anything.
Yep.
I was pouring into me, and I wasn't expecting this person, and voila. And they're here, and now we're married, and we have X, Y, and Z together. That's so beautiful.
It was beautiful. I was really moved by that, and of course, she's like, if you're a woman of God, that you have to believe that you have that all in you. So it was. I really appreciated that whole wedding. It spoke a lot to me.
Yeah,
it really did.
Congratulations to them.
Yeah,
can we invite them on the podcast? Let's talk about this.
You still have all the information, right? Everything's cool?
Yeah.
Yes, everything is cool. We're gonna keep in touch, but it does kind of touch on something, right? Because I'm thinking now of all the weddings that we've done, and I wonder like how many people have stayed together, because you look at them, everything looks good, feels good, sounds good, you're rooting for them.
Yeah.
That's how it's presented, right? Like that's the perception that you have, right? And then because you don't really know somebody, right? Like until I don't think you ever really know anybody.
Yeah.
Right? But we were talking about my second ex-husband a couple of weeks ago, right? Who his future wife just found out that he had been incarcerated and that he had a whole family. Here now she's discovering something about this person she had no clue about. Like, what the heck, right?
Right.
So there's so many examples of things like that about you don't really know somebody.
Yeah.
Ever.
Right. You'll never really know a person.
So this morning, this must have been like, I don't know, 6 a.m. I found this movie because I think now it all kind of ties together about not knowing who we are or people lying to us about who they are.
Yeah.
A movie called My Old School. It's on Hulu. And I sent it to Ray and Natalie, and I was like, you guys need to watch this.
Yeah.
It kind of just blew my mind a little bit. And it was a surprising, interesting film. It was a documentary.
Yeah.
I'd never seen an animated documentary.
Yeah, it was interesting the way that they made
actually threw me off because I'm not
the animation.
I hate animated
Really
shows and movies. Like I'm not big. And so when you sent it to me and I seen like the cover,
right?
And I was just like, oh, okay, what's this? And then so I started watching it. I'm not gonna lie, like the first 10-15 minutes I was not connected to it.
Yeah.
Thank God you hung on.
But you had asked me to. I mean, men do what women ask them to do.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you. But so because it was actually really fucking good. There was like it was a fucking onion. The movie was an onion. The movie was a fucking onion, and not because it stunk and it was whack. It was an onion because there was fucking layers to it. It was dope.
Yeah.
It was so good that it actually, like in my thought process, said, "Fuck the cartoon. I don't care. I gotta keep watching this." Yeah.
It overrode it. Can you describe the movie? How would you describe the movie to people who haven't seen it? What would you say it's about?
Not really knowing a person.
Not really knowing a person.
I had so many questions though, because so it told you about this person's. Are we spoiling this for people?
Oh, I don't care if we're spoiling it. It's important.
We're spoiling, right?
I'm good.
Get what we're saying, but also go watch it.
Yeah,
because even
watch
what
it.
we're saying, the context that we give will actually, it will be supported by everything you see in it. So everybody already knows the ending. It's in the news.
Yeah,
it is.
You're right. That's right. So at first I was, when they first introduced it, oh yeah, Brandon Lee, and I was like, who the fuck is Brandon Lee? And then he just died because this is in the
Bruce
90s,
Lee's son.
Right? And he had died on the set of The Crow.
Mm-hmm.
So then I look it up and I'm like, who was this guy?
So you're Googling while you're watching?
Yeah, because I wanted to know who this person was and how this was relative. And then my mind goes, is he still alive? So I
go down that rabbit hole.
For like 30 minutes, I was really set on this guy was actually Brandon Lee from The Crow.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So that's why when you came over and you asked me about the movie, I was like, wait, so he's not Brandon Lee?
Okay,
you know what,
it lost me.
That's a very interesting take because I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
But that comes from her perspective of not knowing who Brandon Lee was in general.
Right.
Because I knew who Brandon Lee was, so I was just like, that's definitely not Brandon Lee.
Okay.
But
I had no idea who Brandon Lee was.
But your perspective is...
It's not off.
It's not off at all.
But so what the movie is essentially about, it's about a man who, getting out of high school, didn't get accepted to medical school, right?
Yeah.
He was really bummed out about it. And then this high school person now, 30 years later, or not 30, he's 30 years old now,
right?
15 years later. And he wants a second shot. He wants to try to go back to high school to try to get back into that medical school. Makes up a completely different name. Mm-hmm. Convinces the staff that this 30-year-old person is really a 16, 17-year-old kid.
Which he looked like it, though, too. He didn't.
Yeah.
Now, if that was me, like I'm 37, so it's or 36. I don't know. I'm old. Regardless, if I would go back to high school, they'd be like, okay, you may not be that old, but you're definitely not this young.
Yeah.
Right. No, he very much looked the part.
Yeah.
But so the story continues with now you have this adult person that everybody thinks is a whole different person. Everybody thinks he's Brandon Lee, and but they all become friends. Like these kids actually gravitate towards him. Yeah. And I was very impressed with one friend in particular that he helped out a lot. Like he made an impression on everybody. He was in the school play. Yeah. He did all kinds of things.
Yeah. That part was the creepy part to me.
It was the creepy part.
Because at the end, so like the homegirl that was in it and she was talking about it. The whole time she spoke about it, she was just saying it was like a peck.
A peck. Yeah. Barely a peck.
Yeah, so we're like, oh, it's a peck. And then when they replayed the actual footage
they were making out.
It was a passionate kiss.
Okay, so and I understand acting, like, right? It's a passionate kiss. But that passionate kiss led to 2 more extra kisses. Yeah. It did. Which is one of those things where it's like, you got to kind of know, like, that locks in the audience, spark. Right? Yeah. Like, oh, shit, wait a minute, this is just a show. But, like, he got the first one out, pulled back, looked at her, and went in for the second one. So it was just like, yo, dog. Like, and the same, because even her, when she explained it, she was just like,
she was in shock that it played out that way.
But see, so that was like the turning point for me, where I realized we all remembered things our own way.
Yes, 100%.
Because she was in it, like that was her, and for her to not realize that, like, so if any of you guys watch it, if you see the peck, like her comparing a peck would be like, hey, a kiss on the cheek, like, what's up, girls? How you guys been? Yeah, smooch.
You go in and you get out.
Get out, right?
It was quick. In her eyes.
That wasn't a quick ass kiss. That was like almost one of the ones I give my wife to let her know what's up. Yeah.
Wait, and the stranger thing about it is once you learn the truth about everything, you discover that it's a 30-year-old man kissing
a 16-year-old girl. Which ironically, I forgot, was it that were they a couple, the Indian couple?
I thought they were.
And he was like, he goes, legally, it's okay because obviously geographically where they're at, 16 is an adult, right?
Right.
And he goes, but morally, I was like, man, even like
morally. You're 30, man.
Because I even thought, I was like, oh, that's fucking weird. Yeah. That's like if I was just to fucking come and do a show and fucking plant one on one of your daughters.
Oh, that's right.
That would be fucking. That's like, no, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. That was weird. But so I guess in the end, when you watch it, you want to be upset that this happened, right? You want to be upset that this person lied to everybody and put on this grand show that everybody believed. The school, the community, the kids, for parents, everybody believed this. Yeah. You want to be upset that he pulled one over everyone, right? Yeah. Because he wanted to just get into medical school. That's all he wanted. Right. That's all he wanted. And he did all this entire escapade, this entire show. You want to be mad. You want to be mad.
Well, yeah, I wanted to be mad too. And then at the end, they do say, he didn't, charges weren't pressed. No one did anything about it. But then, like, what do I charge you for lying?
Yeah, because technically he didn't commit a crime.
He just went to school.
Well, he lied about his age. He lied about who he was. Like, he was a completely different.
He falsified documents.
Falsified passports. All of that was not real. But what got me was, what is our reality? Like, what is the truth? And that's why I always say, like, the truth is what you believe, no matter what. If it's black, brown, blue, and that's what's in front of you, and you're seeing these other colors.
Yes.
There's a character, not a character, there's a person in there that he helped from being bullied, and they became friends. Like, they became really, really good friends. And he says something like, yeah, that was wrong. He goes, but wasn't he still a person? Like, he was still, what is a person?
Yeah. And it's hard because it still wasn't right. He did right by this person, but look at how karma got in the way or intervened, right? Because he still didn't go to medical school.
And he still hasn't gone.
And they said that, like, he doesn't have, like, a stable job or didn't have stable jobs throughout.
And that they would find him at the library trying to apply to medical school.
So, I was like, so sad. But you said something about what is your reality, right? I had so many questions, and this is just my analyst logical trying to figure out where he came from, how he grew up. I have a lot of questions about the mom. because
they didn't know if she was in on it.
Yeah.
Until they started breaking it down. Because even when they were asked, like, amongst that part where they're like, well, was the mom in on it? No, because she... Yeah. But it's just like, when you start thinking about it, like they said...
Well, the mom was the grandma, no? Or...
Yeah, she technically played the grandma. And then, so when he called his teacher or the school, and the teacher had to tell him about his dad... It was, in reality, because they're like, oh, your grandma's on the phone, she needs to tell you.
It was the mom.
And it was the mom the whole time.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So she knew.
But so my other question, though, too, was, so was the dad alive when she called?
I think he was. I think it said on there he didn't die till 3 years after that.
After all the chaos. Mm-hmm. Wow.
After they called...
That's the part that got me confused. I was like, so did he die? Did he not die? When did he die? Like,
true.
That must have been when I went to go flip my tortilla con huevo.
Oh, really good. but there's a part in there. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. You were talking about reality. Or did you answer your question? Ask your question?
Well, yeah, because so what were the parents, and I'm going to include the dad in this, what were the parents telling this guy about his life and egging him on to believe that he can go back to high school so that he can go back to medical school?
I don't think that they were thinking about... I don't think that his parents were thinking like, oh, yeah, I'm good with you doing this plan. I don't think they gave a shit about the plan. I think they just wanted him to go to medical school. Like, do whatever you got to do, whatever it takes to get you back to
medical school. Do you think the dad knew?
No.
I don't think he knew either.
I don't think he knew at all. Well, because
they had to have been estranged somehow, right? So, but he obviously found out when we found out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So, or when
it was on the news. Yeah.
So, because the mom was like on it.
She was.
Because even when that same guy that you're talking about, that he helped out a lot, he was like he called her granny.
That's right.
When they would go over.
Yes.
And she would play to it, and she called him Brandon. You have to have been a part of it to just... I can't imagine a 30-some-year-old being like, hey, Mom, just call me Brandon in front of these people.
Yeah, but my name is really... I don't know, Brian or whatever.
It was Brian, actually. His real name was Brian. Yes.
Which, that was the crazy part, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a strange coincidence.
One of his classmates was Brian McKinnon.
Same exact name.
That's wild.
Which he says he was panicking when they're like, oh my God, they know. And then he's like, no, it's me. But you know what? It makes me think, like, now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, I think he probably, his whole purpose was to please his mom, like to do what the mom wanted. I don't think he...
But wasn't that the dad's wish?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the dad's dying wish was for him to go to medical school. How do we know
that it was his dying wish?
Oh, yeah, technically, right?
Technically, you
that's
don't.
Just another layer we just...
That's what I'm saying, you don't. So it could have just been the mom. But you know how, like, I'm trying to think of the murderers or the serial killers that had mom issues. I'm thinking about, what's that show that we watched? Dahmer.
Yeah.
Right? I'm thinking maybe he was so... I'm curious about his childhood. Like, what did you hear growing up that maybe you weren't good enough, maybe you weren't accepted the way you were, that your plan to get into medical school was to completely make up a whole other person.
Right.
Maybe it was the opposite.
What do you mean?
Because he was so determined that when someone told him no,
right,
it took him to that, like, psychotic extent.
Obsessive.
Right? Because maybe his mom wasn't telling him that he wasn't good enough. Maybe she was telling him that he was better than he was.
I don't think so.
Because,
I think mom was shitting on him.
Because how do you take that? Like, as a parent, you would give your child the reality, right? Like, this is what it is. Yeah. You would still want to instill some type of hope or but at a certain point,
you just ain't cut out for that, son. I'm sorry.
You know what
Can't go to medical school. Choose another field.
And I feel maybe perhaps he was saying, or she was saying, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Because that was his complaint. That they pretty much, like, they dogged his ass.
Yeah, he got cheated of it.
And that goes to the other question that Natalie had asked about our reality. Like, what's our reality?
Yeah.
Like, even if we know our reality, the fucked up part about it is our reality, if we allow it to be, would be determined by what other people say we can or can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if that was his reality, right? It got him to the point of being so obsessed with it because they told him he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
All right. So you have blinders on and you're just going with it.
And it sucks because, like, when you tell someone they can't do something, you know what I mean?
Because he was intelligent. He was an intelligent man.
Yeah, he knew his shit.
And
you have to be intelligent in order to fool 40 plus fucking faculty members that taught you 15 years prior to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang.
Because none of them fucking realized it.
But the way his ass got caught was dumb. And it was such a simple...
Yeah.
Such a simple...
It was the passport thing, right?
Yeah.
Or the travel.
Well, yeah, because there was 2 stories to it that supposedly there's like an altercation. But then it was... The true story was the second one, right? Where him and that girl, like...
Oh, yeah.
She fucking went off on him. And it just turned into something, and she just had.
Oh, and then the mom told the school or something like that, right?
It turned into like so. That's what that tripped me out about the whole documentary, I guess you would call it, right? Was that there were so many fucking stories, and they all knew all the stories.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh well, no, this was my story, and then like everybody that was in that group knew. All the fucking stories.
And they had the actual people, everybody that they were interviewing and that they were speaking, they were all, the only person that was not real, ironically, was the main character, the Brandon Lee Brian guy. He was played by an actor. Mm-hmm. It was his audio that was used, but the actor was lip syncing the whole thing. Yeah. Right? Because he didn't want to be on camera because now nobody knows where he's at. And he doesn't want to be seen in public. So now I was telling Ray, I was like, what if he got like a face change or something, and he's gonna try again?
Yeah,
that's how it wraps up. Yeah, and the eyes, it's like, because ironically, his eyes look just like Homeboy's eyes that played on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's why I was just like,
wait, how do you know it wasn't him?
Yeah,
like, how do you know it wasn't him?
And it could be. We don't know. Because then it's like, well, see, now people are gonna be like, man, you guys fucking smoke a lot. No. But what if we look at it and say, what if that is him?
Right.
Because for an actor to lip sync
the audio,
all that shit was fucking insane.
That had to take a minute.
That had to get it right.
Yeah. But I have a lot of compassion for him. Like I feel bad for him. It was like I was low key rooting for him. Like I want you to get into medical school.
Until he kissed a girl.
Yeah.
He listened to too much Little Mermaid. Sebastian was all up in his ear. Keisty, girl.
Oh my God. And he did. He went in. But I wanted him to. I'm not mad at him for lying to everybody.
I'm with you on that part. It was the kiss that fucked it up for me. I swear.
But he had to do it, Ray. Well, no, actually, he could have just pecked her.
It could have just been a peck. It didn't have to be like.
And he was like the documentary does say, they do mention that he was trying to avoid it and he didn't want to kiss her. But that's a part of wanting to belong and wanting to be loved.
Peer pressure.
But ironically, it kind of goes with what you were saying about that couple and how that lady was saying she wasn't looking for anything.
Right.
Right. So this second time around, his whole purpose was the goal of being in the medical field. And through all that, without trying, he gained all these fucking friends. Everybody wanted to be with him. Because that's not what he wanted and that's not what he was trying to do. He just knew what he wanted.
Yeah.
And everything else just kind of fell into his lap. That's the irony. That's why when you were telling, I was like, hey, I like that segue you just put together there.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about, because at the end of the day, like when there was a technician a long time ago, he was just this older, humble guy old man from like Wisconsin or something like that. I don't remember where he was from. Mm-hmm. Lived a very quiet life, just, all American, just a beautiful, soft man, right?
Okay.
When he died, and his family went into his apartment, I think he was gay, and he had all these S&M stuff, all leather everywhere, all of these things.
And they had no idea.
Had no clue.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. We don't know people, and I'm not even gonna get mad at you if you made me feel a certain way while I was under the impression that you were somebody else.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this: he gets his medical degree.
Okay.
You guys allow him to perform a medical procedure on you guys, or do your doctor be your physician or whatever the case is?
I think I would.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because so long as you know your shit, right?
Yeah. But how do you know that he knows his...
How do you know any doctor? And at this point, yeah, how do you know any doctor does, right?
Right.
You don't know if somebody just slapped on whatever the doctors wear and jump right. You don't know that.
It's like the guy, Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Catch Me If You Can, and how he was always, he was is it a Ponzi schemer?
Something like that.
Well, I don't know, but he was he wore a whole bunch of different hats, and then it took years for the FBI or whoever, the powers that be, to catch him. But he went on to do all of these things.
Yeah.
Nobody knew that he wasn't a doctor.
It sucks that people have to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, we are, a few episodes back, we talked about lying. Right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, somehow, even through all the truth that he had to figure out that, man, I had to lie about all this.
Yeah.
And they always say lies catch up with you. Obviously, it did on his
time and time again.
On his vacation
will show.
Or his what do they call it over there?
Holidays.
Holiday.
Yeah.
Holiday.
Yeah. I don't know why we don't call it a holiday here.
So let me ask you both this. If you had an opportunity or a time in your life where you could go back and be a completely different person, what time and what would be different? Like, what would you do differently?
Oof.
Or what would be the goal, I guess?
That's a good one.
I probably wouldn't have gone to college to pursue a criminal justice degree. But then I don't know what else I would do otherwise.
See, that's the tricky part, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like you go through what you went through, and you are where you are for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? Because even though that's what you went to school for, you still learned something.
Yeah.
That you're able to apply to
everyday
where
life.
you're at now. You know, so I think that's what makes it such a fucking hard question. Because you're like, I don't know if I should. Yeah. What would I be?
What would I be?
I could tell you for sure. Like, I remember when I was in high school, I used to play basketball religiously. So I used to always want to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
5'8", 5'9", not going to make it in the NBA.
Right.
But, I mean, if you would have gave me a few more inches.
Yeah.
Then, pause. Then,
yeah.
then maybe I could have made it to the NBA. But
I don't know, but it did make.
Are you speaking in terms of like who we are now, or if you're saying like timeline wise, like go?
I don't even know, because now I'm just thinking like he made a whole name for himself and like just was a different person than he was. So it makes me think like, well, if I could make myself somebody right now, what would my name be and what would I want to do?
So what would that be?
I don't know. Rochelle, definitely.
That's my wife's middle name.
I know.
Rochelle.
I think I get that often, but I don't know. It makes me think about my alter ego. Like, well, who is that alter ego that I have within me that would love to just storm out of my current state?
Yeah. What about your current state now? Maybe you are living in your alter ego.
I am living in my alter ego?
Maybe.
I think so.
Because you've been conditioned, I guess you would say, to be something. And even though you've done it, now you're living in a totally different life. And that life that you live now, it could be your alter ego. It could be all the things that you wish you wanted to do or dreamt about doing. So
that's actually a
maybe
really
that's
point.
why it's kind of hard for you to figure it out, because maybe that's what you're doing now.
Yeah. That's
Meaning
a good point.
That I'm trying to get out of my alter ego right now?
No, you don't have to get out of it. You're in it. Perhaps you're in it.
Maybe I am.
That's why I'm saying, because you proposed that question to Natalie and myself. And when we ask you, you don't even know.
Right.
So you can't. You couldn't propose that question and not have thought about it all day.
No, but now I'm curious about whether or not I am living in my alter ego. That's a really good question.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely living non-traditionally, right? Well, at one point you were.
Yeah.
Now you're a little settled in, and like you. And what I mean is, traditional would be like, oh, you have a stable job and you have your home and you do things in a certain way.
Yeah, definitely.
Where it would be for the average person, it's, oh no, we have our own house and we don't have our creativity only happens on the weekends from 8 to 9 p.m.
And it's just a hobby.
It's just a
hobby.
Just a hobby.
where you do your hobby. Your job is your hobby.
Yes. I remember I sent you that text message. I had a client sit in my chair the other day, and he was referred to me from another client, and I was just chopping him, and all of a sudden he's like, hey, he goes, I heard you DJ at Dodger Stadium sometimes. I was like, yeah, I do. Yeah. You know, I didn't bring it up. He brought it up. So I was just like, yeah. That's what I do from time to time. Yeah. And then we're going, like, I'm talking about other things. He goes, man, that's so dope to be able to, like, do a little side thing on the side. Yeah. And in my head, I was thinking, like, I don't know if you realize it's not little.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And it's not a side thing, bro.
Yeah.
Like, the life that we live is not, it doesn't offer the ability to have something on the side. It's all just collective.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, me, I cut hair as the day job, in a sense. Right. But then I'm DJing and I'm doing my photography and my video work. So it's just like, collectively, I know when I do my taxes, it all falls under the same umbrella. Yeah. So I wouldn't call it a side thing. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they're not taking from I got to do everything as an individual person, as a business. So it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around someone saying, "No, it's a little side thing."
It's your hobby.
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, you get paid for your hobby." It's like,
yeah,
sometimes more than what I get paid for my job.
Right.
If I'm gonna say it in the way you look at it,
right.
You know, so it's like, at what point do you stop saying it's a hobby?
Yeah.
And that's what you got to look at. So your reality was living the 9 to 5, having
beautiful. Right. It was different. Right? Just different. It was different. Yes.
And now you're doing it, but you're also, you had to make that adjustment, which I remember when we first had that conversation about you stepping out of that. I had told you, like, look, I've been doing this for going on 10 years. Right. It's not easy. It's not comfortable. You're never at ease. You're never at ease because you don't know that tomorrow is going to be. If us as humans don't know that tomorrow is promised for life, how the fuck are you going to know that tomorrow is promised financially?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was like one of those things that I try to explain to you, like, hey, look, I'm not going to say that you can't do it, but what I'm going to say is that you can't just hang your head on it. You can't say, I can't do it. You can't let people tell you can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't.
That too.
There's no, and I've said it before with other people, there's no room for your fucking feelings in this shit.
There isn't room for feelings, and it requires an incredible amount of discipline. Yeah. But I need to get something out of my bag, because I was listening to an interview a couple of days ago with Lord Finesse, and he talks about your passion becoming your purpose. And I'm gonna go grab the quote right now, but distinguishing what a hobby is and what your passion is, that's why I do feel like people dismiss, that's your hobby, you like to do that, well, so what's the difference between a hobby and a passion? They're both kind of the same thing, aren't they?
I think the difference is that they don't know the difference. I think what ends up telling is that they don't know the difference because they've been conditioned to live that stable lifestyle.
Yeah, a hobby is only done on this day, during this time, where a passion is full force. You're in it all day long.
Because
I need to get that quote. Keep talking.
Because I know, like, so for even my wife, right? Like, I used to have like the steady income. Yeah. So she was just like, "Oh, you're gonna be doing this and that," and then I'm like, you know what? I left the warehouse. You know, so I could imagine. So, and that's why I say, like, for people who don't live that type of lifestyle and they're more in that stable mentality,
right,
of just being on a schedule and you know what's going to happen Monday through Friday between this time and that time, and when you get your check, right? Excuse me.
Those people can't fathom.
They can't. So that's when, like, when when I hear people say stuff like that, it bothers me. But at the same time, it's just like, that's my reality.
Right.
And your reality is, you're not gonna, I can't expect you to understand what I'm talking about. I don't expect you to even have compassion for what I'm going through. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
right.
Even when I first started cutting hair, there were Saturdays where I would cut 2 people in like a 10-hour day. And you're talking at that time, now haircuts were like $15 an hour a cut. Mm-hmm. I made $30 all fucking day.
Yeah.
So then when people come now, like, oh, you're booked all the time, or you do this and that, like, bro, do you not realize how long I've just sat here before?
Yeah. You've had to pay your dues.
Yeah. And you're good with getting paid.
You just said it right now, how he would tell me, if you're going to step into this, like, there's a lot that you have to put into it, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the quote that I wrote down from Lord Finesse. He says, your passion has to have a purpose. And when your passion has a purpose, that makes you want to bet it all on that purpose. So you're 100%, you're putting everything in now.
Yeah.
You're saying, all right,
you're giving it all you got.
Right. I'm now taking my hobby / passion and you know what? It was scary. That was a scary ass decision.
Yeah.
But there was so much, ironically, certainty. It's just this feeling that you have in your body that's like, this is what you have to do. And if you don't, I was literally telling myself this, if you don't do it now, you're not going to do it. Yeah. This is my second shot because I had already walked away from music before.
Yeah.
And it's scary.
Yeah.
And I have to just keep thinking that, like we talked about the other day, your path, whether you're the one who makes your path, or if your path is already done for you. And you do have to believe that your path is already done.
Yeah.
And things are going to get in your way or get out of the way, but it's going to happen no matter what.
Right.
And that reminds me, like, I think my wife ended up saying it on one of our episodes too, that like everything, it's like you said, your story's written.
Yes.
Right? And just because you missed your shot the first time, it's like you got to imagine the train. Like the train's still going to come back.
Right.
And you may have missed it the first time or the second time. At the right time, you're going to get on board.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's going to do its circle. It's going to keep coming back. You might miss it a few times, but don't hang your head low, because at some point you're going to pick your head up and have to get back onto the train, and now there goes you and your opportunity onto the path that you have to go to.
And ironically, because I want to find a way to tie this back to that stupid movie and being a different person, right? I feel like all of the experiences thus far for me, looking back at the person that I became along the way, or just how I was developing, even in the last 5 years of my life, I didn't like it. Like, I can't recognize that person in me anymore. It's unfamiliar to me.
Yeah. You couldn't go back to being that person
No,
anymore.
not at all. But again, part of the path. So now I think about, well, who do I want to be? How do I want to be?
Yeah.
Because for so long, you assimilate to what you think you need to be for other people in all aspects of it. Yeah. Right? So that's why I think I connected with this movie about not knowing who people are and being okay with that. You may not know exactly who you are, where you stand, but you will eventually figure it out.
And you meaning that for yourself, or is that about other people around you as well?
I think just in general as human beings, I don't know, it maybe at some point in every human being's life, you think about assimilating to please somebody else. At any age, at any given, doesn't even have to be for a long time. It could have just been a one-time occurrence. You're like, oh, I don't like this. I think as human beings, we all go through a piece of that. Because that's kind of where you make a decision. I'm either going to keep being like this for everybody else. Yeah. Or I'm going to want to be myself. Yeah. And do me.
Yeah. And that would have to mean losing people along the way, because they're not going to like how you've changed without them, or not for them anymore.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say you're losing them. I think you're just placing them where they need to be. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people that, like, and I got to tell myself that now, where it's just like, you're going to miss birthdays. Yeah. You're going to miss special occasions that are going to happen. And not because you want to, but because you kind of have to.
Yeah, that's where life is taking you at this point.
You know, and that doesn't mean you stop caring about those people. Yeah. You know, there's good apples and bad apples.
Right.
You know, like kind of like with again back to that lady that got married, and how the ordained minister was saying, hey, you know, do you guys accept being in their life?
I love that.
Because the reason why I felt that was so strong is because that role is so important that you could either make or break their relationship. And so, like, when you first said it, I was like, oh man, yeah, that's pretty cool, because they can help them, but they could also fucking destroy them.
Right.
Yep.
You know? And that's why I'm saying, like, with homeboy, do we call him Brandon or we call him Brian? We're gonna call him by his. I feel like.
Well, it's funny. So
That's
I don't know
question.
if you guys watch the documentary with subtitles. I usually do. Towards the end, they were using both. They were doing Brandon
did,
slash Brian. So Brandon Brian.
We could just call him Brandon Brian.
Brandon Brian.
Brandon Brian Lee what's his name?
McLeod, I don't know. Whatever, Brian.
The homeboy.
I want to find him. I'm gonna Google him.
But see, that's why I'm saying, like, hey,
do you have an Instagram?
We look at his mom, right, and you're like, how can she? Maybe she was dogging his ass the whole time.
I
Maybe,
think she was dogging his ass the whole time. This is a mom's fault.
I honestly don't think she was, and it could still be her fault, even if she was instilling some type of positivity in him. Maybe she over instilled positivity. Maybe she, like, you know, you go to the gas station and you want to keep filling, and then you're like, sometimes you're like, oh shit, it's dripping.
Yeah.
Maybe she just dripped out a little bit too much confidence that he wouldn't accept the reality of him not being able to do what he wanted.
I think the mom was evil.
Yeah, I have so many questions about his upbringing.
So then why would the mom go along with letting him go through all that?
Because she hates her kid and wanted to see him suffer and look like a dumbass, but try to help him at the same time. I think 100% he had mommy issues. He's trying to please his mom. He's never going to please his mom because his mom keeps moving the goalpost. Yeah. It's his mom. She's an evil human being.
What do you think, Natalie? Is it the mom's fault? What do you think?
It's the mom.
What?
I don't. Yeah, no, I do think it's the mom, but not in the way that you're saying. I think it's the mom. Oh, God,
like letting, like not wanting to tell her son no.
Yeah,
but she's telling him to do it.
Yeah, because
and encouraging him, and then being complicit in it.
Like meaning, like I don't think she was trying to do it in a bad.
Like no malicious intent.
Yeah, there was no malicious intent, and
other than lying on an application.
And it's clear because he didn't have malicious intent, right? Like he was doing this out of like, look, I just here. These are my friends. I want to be a good person here, but I have this end goal of wanting to be in medical school. But I do think that the mom was coddling him.
I don't disagree with that either.
But see,
that's coddling him.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's a form of positivity, right? And you could over coddle.
Yeah.
You're taking it like even though what she did is like it was bad, but it's still.
I think it's a mix of both.
Because, okay, so if it was you, if you were, what was her name?
I don't
know.
If you were Granny.
Yeah, that's what they were calling her.
If you were Granny, right? And your son came home and said, "Mom, they're not gonna let me do this. They're saying that I'm not good enough." Your son comes to you breaking down everything that he's feeling in that moment. Someone just took away your kid's fucking dream.
Okay.
You're gonna agree with the people that took his dream away?
Not at all. Not necessarily. And that did happen to me. My son, when he tried to make the freshman basketball team and he didn't make it, and he was like, I really wanted to play, and I know he worked really hard to try to make the team. It didn't happen.
Okay, so what was your approach? Being like, you know what? Maybe not this time. Maybe next time. Because there's mama bears.
I told his ass to work harder. I was like, you need to work harder and try a way to incorporate yourself to the team where you're not necessarily playing, so you can continue to study and apply what you. I told him, you work harder.
Now, let's put this in the mindset of, like, when did this take place? The 90s?
93? Yeah.
So I could only imagine that the mom might be like, oh, it's okay, honey, you keep going, you can do this. You're my star.
You gotta think of like, where are they at geographically too?
Oh, that too.
They were in Scotland, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. who's fucking like no disrespect to anyone who has any type of Scottish blood, but who the fuck is mean in Scotland?
Aren't they?
I don't know.
I was gonna say something very general, but I'm not.
But you get what I'm saying. It's just like you can over-coddle and it becomes a negative outcome.
Mm-hmm.
There's moms that have over-coddled their children to the point of now their children are fucking up relationships. Their children are fucking up this and that because. Well, my mom, and you could be like 40 years old, and well, my mom said, like Bobby Boucher, my mama said, you know.
Hey, what about this in Italy? The men don't move out until they're like 40 from their mom's house.
I think that's a smart financial thing. To be honest with you, I don't think that has anything to do with. I think that's a financial thing.
And I think there's something about Italians and their homes. I don't think there's a lot of space for them to move or leave the home.
Just like in general.
Yeah, so they stay longer. Oh, okay. Like they inherit the home somehow or something like that.
I don't think that's like a religious or I think that's just
how it
their
is.
way of living.
Yeah.
Because only in we'll say fucking California can you stock up fucking houses on top of each other and charge $600,000 for a condo.
You're not lying about that. You're not lying about that.
So what do we do then?
I don't know.
Wait, with what? What's the question?
Like who are we? Who? Okay, because we're trying to figure out who are we blaming.
Yeah, are we blaming the mom?
I'm not mad at him.
I'm not mad at him.
Rickie Lee's not mad at him.
I'm not mad at him because I love what he did. Everybody had something good to say about him.
Okay,
he touched everybody's lives.
So here's the thing.
Even though it was a lie.
Do you think going at because you're kind of hard on his mom right now?
I am hard on the mom.
You're doing exactly what his mom probably did his whole life.
Oh God!
No.
Like it's not his fault. Like he was your baby. He was your baby. This whole conversation, you cannot be mad at him because he is your baby.
Yes.
Well, guess what, Rickie Lee? His real mother didn't want no one telling her baby shit.
Yes. There it is. We got it.
Where the fucking meows at?
Meow, 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 meow. And I think that was a result of now his life. He's lonely. He couldn't get the job that he wanted. He's struggling. Everyone is the community is looking at him. Oh, look at this loner. Sorry, that was kind of mean, but that's just how it is. And that's sad. They isolated him.
That wasn't mean.
I felt that was mean.
No.
Wait.
You know why it's mean? What? Because it's 2023. Yeah. If you would have said that shit in 1993.
Oh, the loner part?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. That's so I would say maybe we should all prepare for seeing more shit like this.
Because, I don't disagree with you.
Because in today's society, we coddle.
Yeah.
We coddle everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody and everything so that we don't offend.
Right. And so we don't get canceled. Where are we?
Cancel my ass. I don't give up.
That does
just
worry
leave me alone.
No, that does worry me.
Yeah?
Getting canceled?
Not canceled, but just maybe saying things that you shouldn't. Just because you can't.
You can offend. You can offend.
And you never know who's listening. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
so like,
what? How do we take things offensively? If there's a truth or if it's a lie?
Which either way, it all comes down to what you believe. Either way, despite what the truth is.
I guess, but so now I gotta worry. So that's sort of it's a two-way, right? You want me to coddle your insecurities or your way of thinking in efforts of me saying fuck the way I think.
Right, that's not fair to either.
No, well, it's not fair to you. I mean, it's not fair to me. It's fair for you. It's not fair for me.
Because it's considering my feelings.
Because I'm only considering yours, but you're not considering mine. So how can you tell me to be considerate of your feelings and at the same time telling me to neglect mine?
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Like that, it just that's the society we fucking live in. So maybe perhaps we're going to need to prepare ourselves for some more Brian McKinnons.
I don't think he's wrong at all. Because, and imagine if you find out that my brother's not the person you thought he was. You found out that his real name was Homok Malek, and he's from from Ethiopia, no joke. And that everything you thought, and I'm only, so for the record, when my brother was a baby, or not a baby, but when he was trying to learn how to say his name, he couldn't say Michael Mota. He would say Homok Malek.
Oh, so you're not generalizing?
No. That's my Aunt Rosie always gave his.
Are you gonna go home and call him that?
Homok Malek. Homok Malek.
Oh, you better do it.
But that's what he would call himself. So, but imagine if you found that out, that he was a completely different person.
Right.
than he presented himself to be for you. Imagine that we're not the family that you thought. Now he has a whole other family someplace else.
Do you think we still do that though? Even though, like, you know who I am, I know who you guys are, right?
Right.
But there's still shit you don't know.
Agreed. Which is why I said you're never gonna know everything about a person, right? But in this particular case, if you found out those specific things about my brother,
right,
and that he like came from poverty, and like he's doing his very best right now to keep things afloat, but he's just a totally different person than who you thought. Would you be mad?
No. Yes. Okay, wait. In what ways is he lying?
In all ways. He really has a completely different name, comes from a completely different place, has a completely different family.
And you're not his sister.
And I'm not his, exactly, and I'm not his sister. Right. But this whole time that you've been with him, you thought you've experienced him as Michael Moda and your life thus far.
Yeah.
I feel like Natalie has to look at you and be like, well, why the fuck are you lying to me sitting across from me right now?
You get what I'm saying? Would you be mad?
Yeah. Of course I would be mad because I've been bamboozled. You've played me for a fool, but now...
It's romantic. He did all that to get the woman of his dreams.
You know, okay, yes, okay, so I could see that part. But now the question would be, would this relationship then work? Because now I'm on my guard, like, wait, so why are you always going to lie to
me? I would say it would work because he has to show the truth somehow.
And he got you anyways, so why wouldn't it work? It's been working.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be mad. You'd be fine.
No, I think initially I would be mad. But
like fuck, you could have just told me the truth.
Yeah.
But you're not going to leave him.
Lie.
You're not going to leave him, right?
I don't think so.
Well, Brian McKinnon's mama didn't leave him. She played along with it. Ugh. So that means Natalie will play along with it. And his name is not Jamaica or whatever you said his name was. He said
Jamaica. Hamok Malek.
Hamok Malek. His name motherfucking Mike Moda her.
And that would be the thing. Like, so what do we do now? Do we present ourselves as a different last name? Do we tell the world that you're not really this? How do I explain this to my family? There would just be so much to unpack.
Yeah. Okay, so let me turn it on you. Let me turn it on you, right?
Yeah.
All those are valid questions. Like, I get all that.
Yeah.
Let's say he tells you, I'm still Hamok Malek, but I'm a billionaire. And I have houses all over the world and yachts and planes and everywhere. And you've just spent the last 7 years. I don't know how long you've been with my brother.
It's going to be 7 years, actually.
In mediocrity. Like, that's where you've lived. And you found out this motherfucker has everything everywhere. You'd be pissed.
There was a movie with Jennifer Aniston.
I like how you're not answering it.
No, hey, answer the question, homegirl.
There was a movie with Jennifer Aniston that exact same thing happened. She was a humble teacher. I can't remember the name of the movie, but it's on Netflix. Humble teacher. She quit her job because whatever reasons. All of her friends are rich and come from money or have these great careers, and she ends up leaving her teaching job, or I don't know if she quit or whatever. The case is that she was no longer a teacher, and she started what was she doing? She was doing housekeeping. She was like I want to say waitress, but that's not it. She was a housekeeper, and she was cleaning people's houses. And then at the end, she was making fun of this guy. She's like, oh, I don't know. I think he's retired, or I think he's unemployed. His house is always a mess. I don't think he really has that much money. Well, at the end, he asks her out on a date.
He's rolling.
And he has a shit ton of money. But I think she had asked him for like $5, and I think he lowballed her or something. And so she asks him at the end, so like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I don't have to work. I'm retired. My dad died, and I inherited all these millions. But she ended up being in the relationship with him, and she was like, oh.
Who's going to say no to that?
Yeah, because what if he was broke?
Yeah.
Well, the perception was that he was broke, and she didn't know.
So it's like a test.
Yeah.
So then you would be mad at my brother?
No. Well, I would still have the questions.
Of course.
Like, why would you? Well, like, were you testing me? Did you not think I was worthy enough, or what? But let's
how do we
vacation.
move out of this place?
You know,
I could see how that would be like fuck, dude. You don't even want to. You couldn't just tell me.
Yeah.
Like we went through all because 7 years is a long fucking time.
Is that how long you've been together?
It'll be 7 years.
Damn, I thought it was a guess.
Because that is a long time.
Yeah, you're right there. You hit a spot on.
Like, you could have said something before we got married.
Yeah, like, why wouldn't you have been able to tell me? Did you not trust me? What was... I still have questions.
Yeah.
You know?
So there's questions across the board regardless, whether it's broke or rich.
Now, where'd you get this money? Because is it legit?
Is it legal?
Do you care?
Listen,
because you know,
as long as
my wife has always said that.
Yeah. Do you care?
Do you want to know?
Do you want to know?
Do you want to know?
She doesn't want to know. She's like, I don't know how the fuck this guy knows everybody.
That's always.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I guess I don't want to know. Yeah. No, you want to know. I want to know.
So are you gonna hide things from your kids so that they don't know certain aspects of your life?
I think you have to.
But when you're dead, like, you can't go around not hide, like.
Oh my God.
To what extent then?
So, okay, hold on. I just found out, he's talking about hiding things from your life, right? Ooh. Last week, I just found out my grandma was pregnant 22 times.
Wait, which grandma? Mom or dad?
My mom's mom. Damn. So she now, total children are 11, but she was pregnant 22 times, had to abort a couple. And I was like, Grandma, how did you?
That's a lot on the body.
Oh my God. Are you? And I just wanted to, like, are you okay? Like, that's a lot of trauma.
I bet you no one's ever asked her that.
My mom didn't know. She's like, oh.
Wait, so how did it even come up?
So we had a baby shower for one of my cousins. She's about to have her first baby. And so we hosted it at my mom's house. And my cousin was asking my grandma about her pregnancies and all of that. And so we were sitting there with my mom, my grandma, myself, and my cousin. And so my mom was like, yo ni sabía. And I was like, Mom.
All casual, like.
Yeah, like, not a big deal. And I was like, this woman was pregnant 22 times.
Okay, so this brings up a good point that goes back to the coddling thing. And I don't know how, but the coddling thing and the sensitivity of generations, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's a perfect example that here you have your grandmother who's talking about 22 pregnancies, right?
Yeah.
And your mom doesn't really have a big reaction, right? It's just like, okay.
And I'm losing my
But here
shit.
you're over here like, oh my God, the trauma and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Those are extreme
opposites. Like
polar opposites, right?
Spectrum,
because so at the end of the day, Ray, what's important? A mom who's just like, oh yeah, or the like intense care for Jesus. How are you? Are you okay?
Yeah.
What do you think the grandmother is gonna respond to? What is the right answer?
There is no right answer. It's all perspective. You said it earlier. The truth all
is
depends.
What you believe.
What you believe. Oh, not necessarily. That's your truth. We've had that conversation before.
Right.
That's your truth.
Your truth.
The general truth for, like, if you were to like census it. That's there's a general truth and then there's your truth. So we would say like, damn, that's fucking crazy.
Right.
But if her mom's just like, all right.
Right.
That's her truth. That's her mom's truth about it. And Natalie's reaction to it is her truth. She's like, oh shit, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then you got to imagine too, like, and going back to like some of your past episodes, your mom doesn't seem like the type of person that would have a big reaction towards anything because she's been through a lot of shit.
You're right.
That's a great point.
You're right.
So her truth and her lifestyle doesn't allow her to be like,
that's
have that
great
sensitivity.
Point. That's a great point.
And that even goes on to say like the way that I perceive things and react to things.
What do you mean?
Well, yeah, because I get my my realities and my perception and the way that I view things from our parents.
Okay.
If it's not a big deal to them, then my reaction would be similar to theirs, or it would be opposite because they didn't care. Now I care a lot.
Like, what do you mean you don't care? Like exactly how she just said it.
Yeah.
Like her reaction was just like.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Well, I'm like, what the fuck? Are you okay?
Yeah. I was really like, whoa, that's a big deal.
That is. Because, like, she was only able to deliver 50%.
Yeah.
And I think that goes on, like, mentally, too.
Was that intentional?
We were speaking, well.
Look at the time.
Yeah.
So, I had that question for my mom. Or I don't know how I said it, like that she wanted. I think I made it seem like my grandma wanted all of her children. And my mom was like, no, your grandma did not want all of these children. She said something along the lines of, just religiously, you did not have, there was no birth control. There was not having these kids. So she was going to have all of these children because that was what.
Whether it worked out or didn't. Mm-hmm. Which is true. So, and what's crazy is like, you just saying that reminded me of what, like my grandma, excuse me. My grandma actually came to California because she's from Montana. She came to California with her aunt, and her aunt took care of her. And that was because her mom didn't want to take care of her. Oh, yeah. So it was like that. That's like another level to it, right? Like she, like her grandma didn't have the choice to, to abort or not abort, or But then it's just like financial situations. Yes. Like from what I could remember, my grandma came with my aunt, and then my aunt did her thing on her own with her husband, and I don't know if he ended up passing away, but my grandma ended up living a better life than her siblings did in Montana. Yeah. For that reason. And then I think too, one time my mom was talking about how, and I don't know if there's any truth to it or if it was just like one of those situations that siblings have where they're just like spewing shit out the mouth just to piss off the other sibling. Right. But there was like supposedly a story where my mom was like, they were going to give my mom up.
Oh shit.
Like they weren't going to keep her. Like obviously they birthed her, but they weren't going to like erase her. They were going to, and I believe my aunt would be like the one when they get in arguments, like, and that's why mom and dad wanted to give you up and this and that. Like,
that's so mean.
Yeah, you know. So that's why I'm saying, like, so there's levels to this shit. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know exactly what your mom's been through, but hearing your guys' stories, like, your mom's been through some shit.
Oh, a lot.
So that's why, like, things like that, and then her relationship with her mom.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what your mom's relationship with your grandma is, but
funny. It's an interesting relationship because my grandma's very distant from all of her children, and so
has it always been that way?
Oh yeah, yeah, and especially because just for context and so that you guys know, my grandma was a child when she started having kids. She was only 14, 15, and so by the time that my grandma had my mom, well, she was still having kids. And so my mom was actually raised by the oldest daughter.
Makes sense. That happens.
Because now, my grandma's busy tending to the house, tending to the husband, tending to the chickens and the whatever it is, and then the younger children. So my mom ends up being raised by the oldest, so she had like two moms. And so that her situation didn't lend itself to having a bond or a connection with her parents, with my grandparents. She ended up having the bond with the older sister, which ended up being a mom, and she's now, I think my mom has a lot of resentment towards my grandma and towards my aunt, her sister, because of how that all played out. Because I don't think my mom necessarily wanted to be with my aunt, but also I'm sure she has to be grateful for her in some sense, because they only came here to California from Mexico because of my aunt. So my aunt started bringing all of the younger siblings over as a result. But yeah, they're not close at all.
So would you say that your grandmother, tying it back to this movie about being who we are, would you say that your grandmother was not satisfied with who she was and who she became? Like at this point, she's faking being somebody that she's not, right? She's participating in being a wife and having all these kids and doing all of these things, when maybe deep down inside she's like dying to be somebody completely different than this, but you have to silently live as something else.
No disrespect, but I don't think my grandma had the awareness or the ability to think of another life for herself other than what it came out to be.
I was just going to say something similar to that, because it's like, again, what me and Natalie were saying, like geographically, like if your grandparents are from Mexico, she didn't even have the choice to think about doing something else.
Yeah, there is no other
like
thing.
You asking that question is from a perspective of a 40-year-old woman in 2023, not a 40-year-old woman in Mexico
in the 50s.
In the 50s.
Yeah.
Where, like, you gotta imagine
40s, 50s.
Yeah, America advances its ways of living further than anybody else, right? So they were in Mexico when this was happening.
Yeah.
To this day, now Mexico has more traditional values than the United States, right? So
yeah.
She probably didn't have. She didn't think about anything else because there was no other option. There was no choice. Why would she think about doing anything other than raising?
You already know this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
This is what's meant for you. This is it.
Because how dare she have a fucking dream to do something else?
Yeah. Well, and you know what? And this will confirm it. So again, back to this baby shower. One of my my tia Priscilla. We love her. This is the tia Priscilla that makes everyone in the family cry, right? Well, she had even said that my tia Priscilla, she actually told me, she goes, I want you to tell my story on your podcast. I was like, okay, tia, I'll tell you.
Speaking it into existence.
Does she want to come on?
She doesn't, actually.
She doesn't?
She doesn't, but she said, I just want you to tell my story.
I love stories.
She's a chef.
That's
a
cool.
chef. She's
Next
about to
episode,
retire. I really do. I do want her to come on here because she has a lot.
She could sit back here with me.
Or we could go to her house since we're remote and she could cook for us.
Yes. Actually, she did invite, she wanted us to go to her son's house. So
I'm just trying
TBD.
Yeah,
she will eat. Or you will eat. She will cook. So long story short, she said something about my grandma and she said, your grandma, she's talking about sexuality and wanting to be who you really are and your authentic self. She's talking about that. She said that my grandma would tell her, Priscilla, esas cosas no se dicen. Why do you talk that way?
Right.
You don't speak about your sexuality. You don't speak about the things that you want to explore. Those are not ladylike things. So, because my grandma's used to, you take care of the home, you take care of your husband. Yes. And my aunt is complete opposite of that.
That goes back to what you were saying. Was it a few episodes where it's just like you're pretty, you're quiet.
Yeah. Calladita te ves más bonita. Yeah. And that's how they were all raised, and it caused a rebellion.
At some point, right?
Yeah.
Like our thing says, welcome to the revolution.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Because that revolution, we would say, came about in the 70s, 80s, maybe.
When women were
start rebelling.
Yeah.
At least
so sad.
Like within our culture.
Yeah.
That's
interesting.
I want to hear your
I just want to eat her food.
What I'm gonna take the but you see, I tried recording my aunt and she caught me and she's like, why are you recording this? She was so pissed.
She knows.
Yeah. And I was like, I just want to hear you.
So this is how you're gonna do it.
All right.
Not because I'm a sneaky person or anything.
Let's do this. I want to do this. I want to get.
But you're gonna take what you're gonna take to record.
Okay.
Right, and be like, look, I could either have this and listen to it so I can tell your story from your way.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Or I can just tell your story my way.
And she's going to want it told right. Which is going to be
so this is why I'm recording it. I'm not recording it for someone else to hear it.
Yeah.
See what I said?
I'm recording it.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not always right.
But this is a great way to go about it.
I honestly, that's like one of those things. That's why when you sent it earlier, I was like, ooh, dope, a documentary. But as soon as I started seeing cartoons, I was like, oh my God.
I like the little cartoons. I thought that they were.
I don't know why. Even growing up, people used to be like, you don't watch The Simpsons? No.
So you have not even a favorite Disney movie? Like zero animation? Like
I don't know.
The little nothing Disney?
I mean, we took Kara to Disneyland November and I had fun, but I don't.
He said I had fun. Wait, okay, so there's not.
I think the fun was watching my daughter be excited.
Sure, so there was not one character that you were like, oh, he's cool.
No,
what did you play with when you were little? Like when you were little, 4-year-old Ray. What was little 4-year-old Ray playing with? Yeah. What was he excited about? This is a great question.
Yeah.
4-year-old Ray was probably excited just to fucking hang out with people.
So no Power Rangers, no Transformers, Dragon Ball Z.
We watched
Ninja Turtles.
We watched
Come on,
Power
I'm naming them all right now.
we watched Power Rangers. I just never got into cartoons.
Huh.
Like, I'm not a person to be like, oh, like, everybody would come to school and be like, did you watch the new Simpsons?
Like, no.
No.
Listen, I'm still over here like, did you watch the new Simpsons? Like, get all nerdy.
And sometimes sometimes I say, you know what? I would just say, yeah, just like, I don't want to have to fucking deal with this, which you guys are giving me right now. Like, I don't, like, my daughter could sit all day and she'll watch. What would she watch? Right now she watches... Because it varies. Like, for a minute, like, she loved Soul.
That was a good movie.
Yeah,
right?
It's an excellent movie.
But I'm like, I just always have been interested in the history of stuff.
Did you like Soul?
Oh, Soul because of the story.
Yeah.
Animation-wise, I could give two shits about it.
Okay.
I would rather have listened to it.
You know what?
We need to get down to the bottom of this. Why does animation bother Ray?
It doesn't bother me. I just don't have...
You don't like it. That's so strange.
I'm not saying I don't
But
like
you
it.
watch TV. I mean, obviously, because you just watched this. I'm confused. Like, where do we draw the line here?
No, I do. I mean, I do, but it's stuff like this. Like, so I think the last thing I did watch was actually the murders or something. The something murders.
Oh. Not murders in the building.
No. It had to do with.
It's animation.
No, it's a documentary.
It's on Netflix. I can see the image and I know what you're talking about.
It's about the girl that ended up like falling off the boat, and they covered up that whole thing because the family was rich and all that shit.
Oh, I know.
And then come to find out that there's like 5 murders within that family that was covered up because that family is so big and powerful that they were able to. So I watch things that I don't. For me, it's like it has to be real. It has to have some type of substance to it.
So there's Ray, 5 years old. Take this off the TV, Mom. This ain't real shit.
No, like if they
I don't want to watch the Aristocats.
The one thing I do remember because my grandma would take us. Like if we used to go back to LA every weekend, so my grandma would actually take us to the Edwards in Alhambra.
Hey,
and one of the ones I do remember was watching like The Lion King. I remember watching The Lion King
so good
in theater.
In the theater
when it came out. Yeah, I remember watching that with my grandma.
How old were you?
Oh shit, I was.
You were been like you weren't 7. Double digits. Yeah,
no,
you
I
were.
Been like 6 or 7. Maybe.
Did you cry?
No.
So you didn't feel any type of way, Ray, when the dad falls. What was the dad's name? And Simba's not Mufasa. No, it's not Mufasa.
Yeah, it is.
No, he has a
Mufasa's
strong
the evil
name.
dad.
Scar is.
Oh, it is Mufasa.
Mufasa's.
It is Mufasa.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, Rafiki. I'm thinking about Rafiki. Okay,
the monkey.
Yeah. I was thinking Mufasa was the monkey. But...
You know what? This might actually be my favorite one because I like the part where he's like, it's his uncle. Who's his uncle? The monkey's his uncle. You know what?
It's the Lion King.
It might be the Lion King. It might be the Lion. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I think it was? But see, this is the adult of me comes in at such a young age. I was like, man, you better get fucking Nala, man. Going all that work, Nala. You better go give him something. Look at him licking. Look at her licking his ear.
No,
that's hilarious.
I think I remember watching that movie in the theater too, and that I'm a sucker for things like that. Like I imagine I'm Simba and I'm watching my dad like that. Oh man, I lost my shit watching that movie.
I remember all of like my friends, everyone around. We all watched it together. Everyone was hysterical, and I didn't understand like why are you guys crying?
Why wouldn't you cry?
I didn't relate. I don't know what happened. So
you're not empathetic?
I guess not. Not at that point. I don't think I understand.
Damn.
I think it has to do with the timing though. Like as children, we weren't, and again, geographics. Like,
are both of you Scorpios? Like what?
No, I'm a Virgo. But I think it just depends on where you're at in your life. Like,
yeah, I was 4, 5 when I watched it. But you know what I think? I want to pinpoint that I think there was a language barrier there.
You were speaking Spanish?
I don't think I understood.
They didn't have it in Spanish?
Even if you didn't understand, you know it's the dad. The dad's falling to his death, and the little son is watching him.
I'm 5. I don't understand.
Oh my God, Natalie.
Maybe some people don't cry because they're like, yo, fuck it. Maybe he needed to die.
Yeah, like, sorry.
Yeah,
why'd you do that?
It is what it is. I had homies that didn't have dads, so what the fuck does that matter to me?
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
You guys are rough. You guys are rough. But rough. I get it.
This is life.
That's your reality.
Yeah.
You're a very, and we talked about this before the podcast. You're a very passionate person. I mean, and
I'm sensitive.
So am I. But
I'm sensitive.
I mean, everyone who watches and listens to us now knows who's the first of the three. Who's going to cry first?
Inevitably.
Yes.
Stop making me cry.
We don't make you cry. Sometimes we walk in and you're crying.
But I think it's beautiful, though.
That's your reality.
It is. And I think crying is a wonderful thing. Like, it is. And I am very sensitive to those things. I could watch a commercial that would make me cry or anything that touches me, reading words or listening to a song, that shit will make me cry. Like, that's a beautiful thing.
You're in tune with all of that.
I could have 1,000% let you know that I did not really, like, I've been passionate and I've always had interest in certain things, but I've never really been emotional until I had children. Once I had children and gone through the shit that I've gone through, then that's when I started experiencing, like, damn. Because sometimes now, like, and I'm not saying, like, oh, he's a fucking tough guy. I'm not a fucking tough guy. But there's times where I look at my kids, I'm like, fuck. And then Google Memories don't fucking help.
Oh, God, I hate Google Memories.
So it's just like I'll see pictures of my son when he was little. But then I think, like, fuck how shitty ass dad I was back then.
Oh, no.
And then I'll think about stuff like that. But then, too, it's just like, fuck. I still got time to make up for it.
Yeah.
I get that. I don't have to stay in that slump.
I get that.
I don't know when the last time I choked up.
Choking up right now.
I don't know, Ray. I was going to say, Ray, it looks like you're a little teary-eyed right now.
It was actually a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Oh.
I was talking to my mom, though. That's only...
I we talked about this. Yeah.
I was some stuff was happening, and I was ready to go back and revert to my old ways. And my mom doesn't know everything of my old ways, but women know.
Yeah.
Women know.
Yeah.
Mothers know more.
Mothers know more.
Yeah.
So she was just like, she started breaking stuff down for me and was just like, hey, look, you got a family now. You got to worry about the wife. You got to worry about your kids.
Yeah.
You just got to be smart about what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you not to do something. I'm just going to tell you not to do it right now. You know?
That's great advice.
And that was probably the most hoodish shit I've ever heard my mom say. Because when you think about the context, and I don't want to put the context out on here, but it was like,
all right, Ma.
Yeah.
And I like that she focused on the time part. Time is of the essence. And having that safeguard around time. I think that's probably one of the most important things. When is it right to make a specific move or to not? Yeah. Timing is everything. And that was probably the most powerful thing.
I think what got me choked up about it was when I think I told you, Rickie, was that I actually told my mom something that I've only told my wife. And that was that I'm not afraid of dying. And they only choked me up because of the situation we have going on with, like, my grandma. So, and I always tell people, look, when my uncle passed, that was it.
Yeah.
Like, I lost a lot of people because I failed to care about any other relationship.
Yeah.
So when I think about my mom and I think about my grandma, I've even explained to Samantha, like, the shit that you see me go through with my uncle, I'm telling you why it happened that way, right? So just understand, and I'm telling you now that the extent of it when it comes to my grandma or it comes to my mom will probably be 100 times more than that. So don't come at me with the dumb questions.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Because these are significant people in your life. I'm not
okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's why when people, like, lose parents, I can't tell them nothing because I have mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't grieve for you, bro. I don't know what that feels like.
Right.
I can't tell you it's going to be okay because I still have mine, but I could guarantee you if I lose mine, I'm losing it all.
Yeah.
And that was the last time I actually, like, I choked up.
Yeah.
Like, at the thought of losing your mom?
Not at the thought of losing my mom, but when I had mentioned to her that I wasn't afraid of dying. I've never told, like, who tells their mom that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then, like, can you imagine DeLuca telling you, Mom, I'm not afraid to die? What would your thought process be?
I'm ready.
Okay. You know, like, what do you...
Like,
and then I'm
or...
wondering what's going on in your mind.
Yeah. You know, but that carried on into the conversation that we had. And she was just like, the reason why... She goes, I could see that you feel that way is that you're at peace with who you are.
That part.
Yeah.
That's so valuable.
And the thing is, and for anyone who listens and watches, whatever your belief is, your belief is that strong that you're okay with whatever's going to happen after you're gone. So that's where, like, the conversation... You about to fucking cry, bro.
Because I was silencing myself. I had to do cross that.
I seen the glaze. But yeah, that's what she was saying.
Well, here's what I was thinking as you're saying that, because I would say the same thing. Like, if I died today, I'm good. Like, I am happy with what I've done in my life, with just everything. I'm satisfied. I wouldn't want to bone out on my kids, you know, sooner than later, but
no, you don't want to.
You don't want that to happen.
But you got to be okay with what you leave behind.
Yeah, and I am okay with that, right? Because I think I have made an impression on my children, and they're the ones obviously that I care about the most, about what they experienced with me, flaws and all. I do feel that you got the essence of who I am and what I want you to take from me, lessons and all.
Yeah,
I feel confident. But oddly, when I was thinking that, I was like, how can I say that I'm good to go when I don't necessarily feel comfortable in my own skin? Like, I literally just said that I've left that impression on my kids of who I am. Like, I was really certain that's coming out of my mouth. And I still feel very certain about that.
Because that's all who matters.
But there's a part of me that also feels like, but you don't even know who you are. Like, there's another voice in my head that, aside from that certainty and that, okay, I did this job for my kids and this is what I taught them and this is what I gave them, there's another voice in my head that's like, bitch, you don't even know who you are. Like, how you going to go out right now? You still have to figure this, and this out. And you still don't feel comfortable about this, that, and the other.
Do you think that's why perhaps you have some type of, like, I don't want to call it animosity.
Such a great word.
But perhaps you have some type of animosity towards the homeboy, Brian McKinnon's mom. Because maybe she felt the same way, and that's why she... Like, she didn't know who she was? Or in that aspect, or she just wasn't satisfied with if she was to pass, she wasn't satisfied with what she was going to leave behind. So she let him go about doing that.
That's a great point.
Followed along with it. Maybe that's
a great point. And I could see that, because then at that point, like, you're trying to live vicariously through your kids, or you want to tie all that together. That makes sense. I get that part.
Because if I go, I want you to be okay with what I left you. And if you became the doctor, and if that's what was important to him, then she helped him do everything that she could to help him get there, even if it was wrong.
Now, by saying I'm not afraid to die, and this is for both of you, right? Even if you have a little bit of a hesitance to say it,
like it's a different level of it,
right? Do you guys live more intentionally as a result of that thought?
Every day, for me.
I would say, yeah.
I live more fearlessly?
I wouldn't say fearlessly.
I wouldn't say fearlessly either.
I would say more calculated.
Yeah.
Because you have to be calculated to do things intentionally. If you do things fearlessly, you make mistakes. So that's why I tell my wife, like, you got to be intentional with the shit you say and do, right?
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, so you you purposely intend to piss me off?" So,
that's a good response, Samantha. That was a good. Okay.
So, but I tell her, yes.
Yeah.
I do purposely intend to piss you off, because I know, given whatever the situation may be, I know which way it should be going.
Fair.
Right?
Fair.
So, like, if it's, we'll say it's like something where she's lacking confidence, and I got to tell her something that's not going to make her feel comfortable in order to be like, hey, you're going to be fucking fine. Then I'm going to say something that I know purposely will ruffle her feathers, right? because I need her to fucking know you're gonna be good, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
And yes, I call my wife bro sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like because if you live fearlessly, it's almost like you're getting ready to fucking put yourself in that grave.
Yeah.
That's a totally different perspective. I think to live fearlessly is to live securely. Like when you're secure of yourself and you know what you want to do, and it doesn't mean that you have moments of weakness or moments of doubt, but you're that confident about who you are, what your path is. Mm-hmm. You do live fearlessly.
Yeah.
You take that jump, you take that leap.
Yeah.
And whatever mistakes you do make along the way, like you roll with those mistakes. You figure out the failure around it, the workaround.
But you still have to be intentional, right? Like you still have to calculate it. Like you could live fearlessly without making a mistake, I guess, right? So I guess I would agree with you in the sense of being fearless, but not fearless without intent. Because if you're fearless without intent, that's where I'm saying like the mistakes happen or unfortunate circumstances arise.
You're right. I see that.
If I could be fearless, but I still got to be calculated. Fearless in the thought process to say, man, fuck what other people think.
Right.
I'm still gonna do this.
Yeah.
You know, fuck those 2 fucking teachers that told me I couldn't become a fucking doctor or be in the fucking medical field.
Damn, he brought it back to that.
Right. So
then he was calculated and very intentional.
Yeah, so
and
that's
fearless.
what I'm saying. That's why I said it was a sickening fucking intelligence that he had, because it was like he had to have known that if he got caught, the whole world was gonna fucking scrutinize his ass.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been worse for him if that shit would have happened now, like in this era.
Because they wouldn't care. They wouldn't care about what his goal was at the end. They wouldn't be able to distinguish the fact that all he did was to become.
Yeah. They would have ostracized him in different ways.
Like, fuck, who cares if you want? Yeah, who cares if you wanted to be a doctor? You kissed a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
the angle would have been completely different. They would have just hammered him in. What are you, sick?
I wonder if he's still
Demented?
alive. I think he is still.
So
That's what Ray is saying. Like he's sick.
Yeah.
But super intelligent.
Yeah. Well.
Almost like genius level.
Yeah. Check out the fucking movie.
It's a really good
the documentary.
Movie.
What do you call it?
It's categorized as a documentary. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I did have a problem with the animation in the beginning. I was like, "What is this?" I was kind of irritated with it.
You know what I think
a little bit,
is?
And the music. Did you hear the song that was on there? It was actually a good edit.
I can't.
Ace of Base.
For me, when I see animation, you're not supposed to take it serious, right?
Oh, is that how you took it?
Yeah. Well,
really?
Just in general, like you don't take animation serious.
What about
South Park? You don't take it serious. It's like those awkward people where like the truth comes out and they start getting kind of awkward.
Yeah.
So they got to make a funny joke or something.
Oh yeah,
you know,
break the ice,
like a fucking Matthew Perry type thing.
Break the ice,
right? But
it has that. Yeah, you look at animation like it has this comedy
like it's not
sense
so serious
to it. Yeah,
it's serious, but it's not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what like serious animated film that I've watched. Well, I feel like all the Pixar movies are serious and make me cry all the time.
Yeah, there hasn't been one Pixar that I haven't cried to. So.
But there's also anime. The movies that I think this Ghibli theater or something like that. They did. My kids were so scared of this movie in the beginning, and I can't remember what it's. Oh, Spirited Away. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
That's a serious.
Yeah, that was a serious. And you know, I feel like anime has a little more dark, more serious tone to
it
them.
Is dark.
They're a lot of animes like that.
Yeah. Well, so his movies, like I said, they had a serious tone, and like my kids were so scared of it. But now they're like, oh yeah, I thought that type of animation was on a more serious, like hardcore story based.
Yeah, because it's not a Disney movie, you know. It's not.
Well,
all like...
Disney partners with that guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Well,
and they're coming out with a theme park from all of his movies.
Really?
Yeah. I'm gonna get Ray Spirited Away, and then maybe he'll. Wait, what do you feel about anime?
I don't really watch it. Well, I don't have feelings towards it because I've never like took the time to actually watch it. So.
I like it. I like his movies.
But what I'm saying, like, just in general, cartoons are supposed to like take that edge off.
I get it.
Not so serious.
Yeah, I know there's content out there that is serious.
Yeah.
Did you watch Up?
No.
Ray! Okay, you have to watch Up.
Jerker
Samantha,
from
what
the
are you
start.
doing not making this guy watch Up? You have to watch Up. Wait, so what Pixar movies have you seen?
I don't even know what movies Pixar has made.
Shut up.
You haven't seen any of the Toy Stories.
Listen, we're going to put you on a break until,
I'm dead ass. Like,
you watch at least 2 of these Pixar movies.
I've seen them, just not in their entirety.
Look, I'm going to give you my favorite. Ricky's going to give you her favorite.
Of the Pixar movies?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
And then just watch those for at least.
Wait, which one is your favorite Pixar movie?
I don't know.
They're all good.
They're all so good. But WALL-E is probably my number 1. I love WALL-E.
I am both confused why you like WALL-E, but then also understand why you like WALL-E. You're a strange human being.
I'm here for it. He's just
okay. So what's yours, Ricky? What's your
what is it?
What's your Pixar?
I don't know. I like.
See, so how are you gonna?
No, because they're all good. But I would probably say Toy Story.
Yeah.
In their I don't know, they had like 3, but I remember the last one. They're all about to die. They're all about to burn, and they're holding hands like, this is it. I remember like, are you serious right now? Like, this is dramatic. This is crazy. This is ripping my heart out right now.
Yeah. I was 20. I took my nieces to the theater to watch that, and I was there bawling my.
I think it was
God,
Toy Story 3.
Yeah, it was the 3rd one.
I was like, this is intense.
It's over.
But that's because you guys grew up with it.
God,
I didn't really like.
I guess you're right. Yeah.
No, that's not to say my mom and dad didn't like. Well, my dad could give 2 shits about showing me a cartoon. My dad was like, "Man, get your ass out there and go to fucking do something." But
maybe you have that from your dad then.
I don't know. I just don't. I never. Again, I don't see anything wrong with them. I'm not shitting on cartoons or any type of animated movie. I just don't really watch them. I don't have anything towards them. I don't think, like, you know what I mean?
They don't capture your attention.
I still think he should watch Up, because I feel that Up is the one Pixar movie that will make anybody cry.
Look, I guess I am a señor.
Yes, but you are a señor. You're a don. You're a don.
Because like, even thinking about it now, like, even in high school, when they tell you to, like, pick a book, I remember a lot of people would pick, like, Narnia, or they would pick, like, other...
Narnia was a good movie, too.
Like, fantasy-type fucking books. I picked Bo Knows Bo.
I don't know what that is, but why?
Which makes perfect.
That's an autobiography. It's an autobiography of Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson. Okay. I do know who that is.
And that makes sense for Ray. Like, based on his personality type, like who he is, how he is now.
But I'm not boring, people. Don't.
No, it's not. No,
you're definitely not boring.
No, but you're not childlike. Like, that's a good question to ask Ray. What does Ray tell his inner child?
Oh,
yes.
Because
that's one of the questions we ask all of our guests.
Yeah.
What would you tell your inner child today? So identify what age, because I always think about that. Inner child is a different age for people.
Yeah. Listen, well, I'm gonna let you think about it. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna record all of us, and we're gonna ask each other that question. What do you tell your inner child?
We should do that next week. We're gonna hear about your Thea,
our inner child. Yeah.
And then we're gonna talk about inner child.
Look how he's not answering the question.
Do we already have something for next week?
No, we don't actually.
He's not answering the question.
I'm not.
Because you're gonna leave it for next week. You're gonna leave it for next week. We're gonna put a pin on it.
I'll tell you now. I don't have a problem with it.
Yes.
I would, my inner child. What would I tell my inner child, or what would my inner child tell me now?
Oh, that's actually a good
one
too. Yeah.
You don't fucking over here giving myself questions.
Just keep
It would probably be something that I still tell myself now. So my inner child would tell me, "Don't listen."
Interesting.
And I would tell my inner child they were wrong.
Oh.
Okay. It was like to keep that confidence in yourself that what you knew was correct.
Yeah. There's actually a going back to it. There's a story behind that, actually. I think I've told Ricky about it, where it was like a church thing. And it was crazy because I was just like, whoa. not to say that obviously I believe in God and I have my faith, but to the extent where we see like on TV and people like mock and mimic some of the things that happen, and I was just like,
this is real.
Oh, this is real. Like this man really just told, this man that I've never met in my life just told me something that I've heard my entire life.
Yep. Ooh.
And no one knows about it, but
he
me
showed
and him
you
having that conversation. Because even my wife looked at me at the time when we were dating. She was like,
"What just happened?"
And that's when she was like,
"Whoa!"
And shout out to my little sister-in-law. She went back because they would record their services like this. She actually went back, listened to him.
Oh no shit!
Prophesizing.
Really?
Oh, like to me.
Yeah.
And she wrote word for word what he told me.
Shouts out to her for real.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I say, little me would tell older me, don't listen, and I would tell little you
me, they were wrong.
They were wrong.
I love all of that.
So,
wow. I have more questions, but we'll save it for next week or off camera or whatever it is. That way we can get more.
Whenever.
So what would you tell yours and vice versa?
I would probably tell her, you don't have to be the same. I would tell, and that would be
from you to your inner child.
To my 12-year-old self.
Interesting.
I will tell her, you don't have to be the same. You can be different. That's okay.
The same in comparison to what?
To my friend group.
Okay.
What about your upbringing?
That's actually what I thought she was referring to. That's interesting.
My upbringing. What do you mean?
Because you're different from the rest of your family.
Yes.
Like, do you see? Because I don't mean that. That's just a general question. She knows you more than I do.
Yeah. I'm like, well, because this and that.
Yeah.
So that's more so. I'm directing it more towards like, are you saying don't be the same as like the women that you grew up with, or
that's how I thought it too.
Ooh, maybe we're uncovering something here.
That's what I thought.
I think we're uncovering something. It could be that too. You don't have to be like the women in your family.
Ladies and
not in a bad way, but because you have a different type of awareness. Like I think that you're the
you evolve
in a very different way that is both opening doors and emotions and feelings from your mom's generation down,
right,
and your younger generation. I think that you're that beacon of light that's like,
yeah,
where this is how we can do things.
You're the bridge.
You're the bridge. You're the bridge.
Right. Oh, I didn't think about that.
That's the first thing I thought about when you said that. Ooh. And it had nothing to do with that.
No, but that is I'm going to have to reflect on that.
You're welcome.
I have to reflect on that. Because, yes, you're absolutely right.
To go with that, here's another question. Are you the only one with a son?
In my generation, yes.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
So you are the bridge.
Yes. Well, no.
You are.
Okay, yes.
Okay, and I say this just, again, based off of what I've listened to in past episodes.
Yeah.
You're the bridge to show your son that everything that you were told in the past about men.
Yes.
Oh my God,
yes. That is spot on. That is 1,000%. And you know what? And I think about that. I was like, I was meant to have a son. Of course. So even when I was pregnant and I didn't know what the gender was, I was like, I'm having a boy. I have to. It has to be a boy. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, a boy.
He's the perfect little person in the world.
That's the little homie.
I got to hang out with him today, so I'm really excited.
He's destined for greatness. I'm gonna tell you that now.
Yes, he is.
No,
absolutely.
Yes, he is. And you know what I love about him, Ray? I swear to you, since he was a baby, he's still a baby, but like a newborn baby, I would go over there and I would hang out and I would talk, and I felt like he was not only listening, but he was invested in what I was telling him.
Yeah.
He intently would listen to me.
Well, the same way that we say women know, so do infants.
Oh,
I don't think they. I don't. I don't. I don't think. I don't think enlightened. I don't think they grow or advance in life lacking because that's who they are. I think that's what we teach them.
Right.
Right. We teach them that they're just children. We teach them that no one's going to listen to what you're saying.
Right.
Or
and
what you're saying doesn't
jaded.
count.
And then they stop believing in themselves.
And they start giving themselves excuses. I can't do this because I'm a kid.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that's what Big Natalie would tell baby Natalie, right? Okay, so what would 12-year-old or baby Natalie tell Big Natalie?
Just do it. Don't be scared.
Nike.
Yeah. Yeah, straight up. Just don't be scared. It's okay.
The push.
Throw you in the pool.
It's the push.
Bye.
She wouldn't push me.
Stop waiting.
Just go. Yeah, that's what she would tell me.
I like that.
Just go. Go be happy. Go do what you do. What would they tell you?
Both my younger self would tell my younger to older self, and my older self to my younger self would tell each other the same thing.
And that is?
You are enough.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're good. You're
like
enough.
that.
You're perfect as you are.
You would go
They
back.
would both tell each other that.
Oh, I see them hugging each other. Our inner childs are all hugging right now.
They're probably the same height.
They probably are. We're trying to convince Ray to watch a cartoon.
Yeah.
Little Ray's like, I got a documentary to watch.
Yeah. Leave me alone.
But it's true.
So would I wonder what he would tell himself?
He who?
Oh,
Brian McKinnon.
fuck. I'm still a doctor.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Maybe his thought process is like yours, Ricky.
I think so. I could see that.
It's like you're enough. You're gonna be a doctor. It's cool.
And even if you're not a doctor, it's still cool. You know what? That's what I think is stupid. Not stupid, but it's like, damn, dude, you didn't even see how you actually impacted people's lives. Because it wasn't just the one guy that was getting bullied that he helped. But remember, it was everybody. And there was this one guy who was like, he introduced me to all of this music, and I changed my style.
Oh, the other Brian.
The real Brian. But yeah, that Brian.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, do you realize how...
The impact that you
and
made
you know
on
what?
people.
If I ever met him, that's what I would tell him. I would say, like, did you watch this? And whoever did the movie, I'm sorry, the person who did the movie was a student at the time with them. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah, he was.
Which one?
He had like light colored eyes, kind of
Dark,
like muscular
beard, mustache.
Yeah.
But he
the fighter?
No, not the fighter. But I think he may have spoken with the fighter. You'll see him at the very end. So a person, that's what I was surprised by that. You know, when they start showing what everybody is doing for a living?
Yeah, and the Polaroids and all that.
And then they show the guy with the camera. So he...
Oh, yes.
He went to school with him at that time. So I thought it was interesting because it's kind of a love letter. It's a love letter because it expresses that these people who were lied to... Yeah. The way that he presented it was... You lied to us, but look how you affected our lives.
Yeah, because none of them had anything bad to say about him or anything like that, right?
Not one bad thing.
One of the ironic parts about it that is that rain? Jesus
yeah,
Christ, it's raining hard right now.
It never rains in Southern Sorry.
I think one of the ironic parts about that documentary was at the beginning when the school tells them kind of like the values, right, and how they need to be mature.
Oh, yes.
And they broke all that down, right? And then you get to the end where they ask the same question that Natalie had asked, like, what was it? Yes, would you knowing like all this information now?
Would the doctor.
Yeah, would you allow him to perform any type of medical practice on you? And ironically, you could tell which ones he actually impacted because there were a few that were as mature as that school's like values were. Their responses were very immature. Yeah, and it was just like, you're an adult now, bro.
Yeah,
Like, why are you taking this approach immaturely? Like, like that doesn't make any sense. But it was like that the gentleman that you had said, like, is he not human? Like,
is he not? What is a person? He says, what is a person? He experienced that person, that version of him at the time. Because I wouldn't. It's like if we went back to high school right now, as we are with all of our lessons learned, with all of our experiences, and we went back to being a high school student, we would treat people differently. Yeah. We would have different interactions. We deliver ourselves completely differently. Because that's just the evolution of being a person. You change. So it was still him.
Yeah.
It was still very much him.
So he just had to have a different shell to present it.
And he did.
Because was he not? He was the polar opposite when he was actually in the school, high school, right? Like he was the shy kid.
Yeah. Nobody talked to him.
Because I think the part where they went back to him being in high school when he was actually 16,
right?
And he talked about how like there was like those group of dudes that would like bully,
right?
And they tied it to homeboy that was getting punched by that big kid, and everybody's just like standing around. Some were watching, some weren't even paying attention to it. They just kind of went through the motions of everything.
Well, I don't know. I guess I hope that.
What do you hope?
He's still a person.
You hope nothing. You take the love story for what it is. And it was a love story, and I'm saying that confidently now. Like, cool, he lied, cool, da, 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 da. That's why you can't get mad when people make mistakes, or you can't get mad if people lie to you. If at the end of the day, it's like that quote that, oh my gosh, Maya Angelou says, you may not remember what people say, but you can remember how people made you feel.
Yeah.
Right? So despite who this person was, what he did, whatever, all those people remembered how he made them feel.
Yeah. You know what? You're saying that, and was it his the acting instructor or teacher that said the same thing at the end of the show, where it's just like he pulled him aside and was like, "Hey, as great as this school is academically for what the accomplishments were and that they've had, they're not going to talk about that. They're going to talk about this play."
Right. Oh yes,
that's right.
Yes.
The dean of the school or something like
that,
right? Or the principal.
100%. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, so we have to think. I think we have to think twice when people hurt us or when people deceive us, because it's like, what was your real intention? What was really? How did they actually make you feel? Which ties into reality. What is reality? What's real?
Well, so then it goes back to what you're saying, like, or what you have said before. I can't be upset with you because I'm not understanding your reality, and you approaching me this way is because you don't understand my reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I guess that's what we do, right? We all end up.
That's where the disconnect is.
We compare, we get upset and we compare ourselves to other people, and when they don't do or see things the way we do, it frustrates us.
Right. And you know what? But we do have to give humanity some credit, right? Because it is so difficult to communicate. It is very difficult to understand one another. Yeah. The fact that we have not obliterated all of ourselves by now, it does say volumes. There is patience in humanity. There is hope in humanity.
Well, I think it's because once it gets to a certain point where we have actually like destroyed ourselves.
Yeah.
We realize how like precious like the moment was. Even in its chaos, we realize like, fuck.
Yeah.
We lived some good moments.
Yeah, it didn't have to be this way.
Right.
Like look at like we go back to the whole George Floyd thing.
Right.
Despite what anyone's fucking opinion is on it, and despite what the media puts out versus the facts, at the end of the day, only one or two people know the truth, and that's George Floyd and whoever he believes in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we allowed that mess to happen so much, and we cried after it. And you wonder, why are we crying after it? Are we crying because of the fact that we allowed it? Or are we crying because at the end of the day, like, we know it was wrong, right? no matter
Damn, that was deep.
If he did commit a crime, if he did do whatever they said he did, how they went about it was wrong.
Yeah.
So we do let it get destructive at some points.
Yeah.
And then that's when we realize, like, you end up realizing when it's too late.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
I'm like, okay. There.
Good. Yeah, good way to close
the end.
Show. Yeah, that was it.
Damn, that was good.
I have a lot to say with that.
You got a lot of episodes.
Yeah, time.
A lot.
Yeah.
I still want to know the story.
I still want.
That's her reality.
I still want Ray to watch Up, and then I want his full review on it.
Yeah. You're gonna do it.
All right, I'll watch Up. Mm-hmm. And you guys got to watch something that I watch.
Okay.
No problem. No problem.
I'm ready.
We're discussing Up next week.
But I know both of you guys would enjoy watching like documentaries.
You're not wrong about that.
It's definitely, you know what? I'm gonna have to take you guys somewhere. That's what we're gonna have to fucking do.
I'm down.
ready.
Where you cannot escape.
Okay, I'm ready. Like where? Where though? What do you mean?
Have you seen a fight in real life?
Oh.
No, I don't think so.
Like you've never seen any type of combat sports?
Like UFC?
Just
boxing, UFC.
Oh yeah.
In person?
Yeah. Because I used to go to the UFC gym, so they would give us tickets to go to fights.
What? No way.
I didn't know
then
that.
I can't take you.
I've never been to a fight.
Yeah, it's very intense.
It's very beautiful.
Okay, well, beautiful. Yeah.
It is.
I'll explore the beautiful part.
Yeah. Okay,
it is.
Let's do it.
No, so now you are going because now you're gonna have to see the beauty in it, the same way you expect me to understand the cartoon.
Yeah. All right, I'm done. All right. Well, hey, I want to give a quick shout out to my tío Jaime who gave us this beautiful.
Oh my
painting.
God! Yes.
It blew my mind. It was more than I was expecting. I'm gonna show a comparison of what I had drawn out for him. Like, hey, this is kind of what I'm looking at and what it turned out to be. I'll put it on our Instagram for On This Frequency. Cause it's beautiful.
There's so much going on with it.
There is.
There's so many layers to this. But it is beautiful.
Yeah. I'm excited that we have this piece here. So that's that. So thank you to my tío Jaime for that. And thank you all for tuning in today to our Twitch and for sharing our podcast with your friends, with your family. You guys are amazing. I've been seeing a lot of new followers on our Instagram page. So thank you and welcome everyone. Today's episode was produced live by Raymond Andrew at Rose City Sound with your host, myself. I'm Natalie and
I'm Rickie.
Yes. For inquiries, topics, suggestions, and sponsorships, please email us at onthisfrequency@gmail.com. On This Frequency is available where all podcasts can be streamed. Watch a live stream recording every Friday at 6 p.m. PST on Twitch at twitch.tv/onthisfrequency. Watch us on YouTube and be sure to hit the subscribe button to be notified whenever we upload new episodes. And you can always support the On This Frequency team by buying us some coffee or tea or pizza. I don't know, but we're hungry. Burritos. So that would be at buymeacoffee.com/onthisfrequency. And you can also keep in touch with us on Instagram and on Twitter. Our handle is simply On This Frequency. Good night, y'all. Increase the peace.
Vénganse. Vamos a jugar hoy. Vamos a cantar hoy. Vamos a llorar hoy. Vamos a fumar hoy. Vamos a jugar hoy. Vamos a cantar hoy. Vamos a fumar hoy. Vamos a tomar hoy.